Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Last week, you should have got your 5Q tape breakdown. Great example of when and how to empower a client. So, as I've said many a time, empowering is the most powerful tool you have available to you, because it can make someone who doesn't like you. It can make a meeting that's gone off the rails get right back on the rails. It can make somebody who's very adversarial actually on your side. There's so many things you can do with empowering. So please, if you haven't looked at this, this is one that you really need to go back and look at, okay? So first topic today is according to Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimate, a single person age 65 in 2023 may need approximately $157,000 saved after tax to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. An average retired couple at 65 in 2023 would need an average of $315,000 saved. Guys, how many of your clients have $315,000 saved for their health care? Not for their vacations, not for their food, not for their shelter, but for their health care. How many even realize that this is something they should be doing? Because, they think what? Oh, Medicare is going to do what? Pay for everything. So today I want to talk to you about how you can provide more value to your clients and prospects, build your business through networking, and get more referrals. Now, here's the thing. I'm not gonna ask you to be an expert on this topic. I am not an expert on the topic. I'm going to actually fly through these slides. These slides are about things that people don't understand or mistakes they make with Medicare. I do not want to become a Medicare expert. I do not want to spend the time and effort to do that. It's very complicated. But what is one of the most important things my clients have? One of the most important resources my clients have? Medicare. Is Medicare part of their financial plan, guys? Do a yay. I want a yay or a nay on that. A Y or an N? Everybody, Y or an N? Is Medicare part of their financial plan? Okay, everybody's saying yes. Yes. So even though I'm not going to be the expert on it, should I make sure they have the information they need so that they can utilize Medicare to its highest degree? Yes, I do. So I'm going to go through several slides here about Medicare and things people don't know that I didn't know. And but we're going to talk about how you can leverage that by knowing an expert in Medicare to increase your business, okay? So 6 ways to increase your value of your business. 6 ways Medicare will cost you. 1 is when hospitalized. So Medicare is going to cost you when hospitalized. 2, it's going to cost you with out-of-pocket limits. It's going to cost you if you need a doctor. It's going to cost you ongoing enrollment costs, drugs, emergency. It's going to cost you for all these things. Medicare surprises, late enrollment penalties, deductibles and co-insurance, drugs, long-term care, dental, vision, and hearing, overseas coverage. So these are I'm going to go through all 12 of these things fairly rapidly, not because I want you to learn these things, but so you get exposed to the things. Because guys, first of all, how many of your clients, if you're not an expert on Medicare, how many of your clients are experts on Medicare? All or virtually none? Yeah, 0 or 1 maybe. So I want to walk through these things so you can realize these are things that they are not aware of. But if they're not aware of them, should they know about these things? Yes. And then what's the best way to get them informed and to build your business? So let's talk about that. Number 1, if you get admitted to the hospital, original Medicare, there's a deductible of $1,600, and then Medigap policies, if you have one, will usually cover it. Medicare Advantage plans generally levy a per-day copay for hospital stays per plan. So either way, whether they go with Medicare or Medicare Advantage, there's going to be costs here. Part D for Medicare is a new law places $2,000 annual cap on drug costs effective 2025, but not until then. So our out-of-pocket limits, Part A and B, no caps, but Medicare plans cover all after certain thresholds, but Part D, the drug law, places a $2,000 cap, but not until then. Medicare Advantage, federal government sets an out-of-pocket limit of $8,300 for in-network services. Okay. If you need a doctor, no copay, but expect to pay a bill for 20% of the cost after you've met your deductible. Now, here's what I'm saying. I'm not an expert on Medicare. This is right out of several websites about Medicare. Several different websites said no copay, but expect to pay a bill for 20% of the cost after you've met your deductible. Guys, please, somebody who's an expert in Medicare, explain this to me. No copay, but expect to pay a bill of 20% of the cost. So to me, that's what? Copay. So what? I'm getting copay is normally a set amount versus but guys, how many people are aware of this? I suppose they're aware of it afterwards. So Medicare Advantage, though, depending on the plan, you'll likely pay either a flat fee per visit, maybe $20, that's what a lot of them cost, or a percentage of the bill, just like Medicare pays. Less if you see doctors in your network. Enrollment costs, Part A, there's none. Part B, there's $164. Part D, premiums vary, but average $43 per month. Medicare Advantage, you still are responsible for the $164 for Part B for Medicare, but after that, many Medicare Advantage plans cover drug costs without an extra premium. Medicine, you must enroll in Part D to get a drug. What does that mean? To get? Sorry, guys. Average premium is $43 to get drug coverage, not drug coverage. Average $43 per month. Most plans bundle the medical and drug costs together, so you don't have separate premium for the drugs with Medicare Advantage. When it comes to emergencies, you'll likely pay a copay. The amount will vary based on services you need. You'll also have to cover 20% of the doctor services, just like we talked about before. Medicare Advantage, emergency visits are covered, but the amount you will have to pay will vary with the plan and emergency. So 6 ways to increase the value of your business. Well, these are things that they don't know about, right? So let's talk about these. So we just talked about these. Now let's talk about these 6. Well, first of all, before we talk about these Medicare surprises, how many of your clients really are super familiar with these 6 things we just covered? How many of you are super familiar with all of these things? And even if you are familiar with these things, do you see how the cost for Medicare or for medical costs could end up in the thousands? Yes. So now let's talk about these Medicare surprises. Late enrollment penalties. You have a 7-month window to sign up for Medicare. Starts 3 months prior to the month of your 65th birthday and extends for 3 months after your birthday. For example, if you have a June birthday, blah, blah, blah. Miss your enrollment deadline, however, and you'll owe some hefty late penalties. For instance, if you fail to sign up for Part B on time, your premium will rise by 10% for each 12-month period you did not have Part B, and the penalties last forever. Deductibles and coinsurance. To help with these expenses and others, you can choose to buy Medicare supplemental insurance sold by private insurers. The 6-month Medicare open enrollment period for Medicare supplemental insurance policy starts on the first day of the month in which you turn at least 65 and enrolled in Part B. During this time, you can't be denied Medicare supplement policy or charged more because of your health. Prescription drugs. Most outpatient prescription drugs are not covered by Medicare. However, you can buy a separate Medicare D prescription drug plan that does cover them, or a Medicare Advantage plan that covers both medical and drug costs. Remember we said earlier that you can either buy the Part D or Medicare bundles both medical and drug costs. And guys, if insurance agents are selling Medicare Advantage plans, what's the likelihood they're going to really push Medicare Advantage versus having people sit down and look at an apples to apples comparison between Medicare and Medicare Part D versus their Medicare Advantage? What's the likelihood they're going to give a fair and balanced opinion to their clients? Yeah, I agree, not very high. To enroll in Part D, which is again the drug plan, you must be enrolled in original Medicare. Be aware, private insurers office Part D have their own list of covered drugs called a formulary, and the price of medications can differ under each plan. Make sure the Part D plan you choose covers the medications. To shop for Part D plans and compare costs of your medications under each. Again, guys, I'm going through this quickly because I don't want you to become an expert on this. nor would I want your clients for any sort of this type of presentation to be done with your clients, because how many of them heads would be swimming at them? My head is swimming at this point, and I actually grabbed all this information. My head is swimming. That's right, it's so complicated. So how valuable would it be for a client to have somebody explain Medicare in language they understand? The ins, the outs, what they should look for, what they should avoid, the surprises. It would be extremely valuable. Long-term care. One of the biggest misconceptions is that Medicare is going to cover long-term care, which you and I know it does not. But how many of our clients have this suspicion or belief that their long-term care will be covered by Medicare? They do, unless what? They've had a loved one who that didn't work out so well for. Medicare covers skilled nursing care for limited periods, such as when you're recovering from injury and illness, but it won't pay for the kind of extended custodial care, help with bathing, dressing, eating, other daily activities that nursing homes provide. Dental, vision, and hearing. Medicare doesn't cover routine dental, such as cleanings, fillings, tooth extractions, root canals, bridges, and dentures. Guys, how much does dental care cost? Heck, a cleaning is expensive. What happens when you start getting tooth extractions, root canals, bridges? And when you're old, guess what you start to need? Extractions, root canals, and bridges. It also won't pay for routine eye exams or eyeglasses, contact lenses. If you need hearing aids, you'll be responsible for the cost. Some Medicare Advantage plans may offer limited coverage for some of these expenses, or you can help cover the expenses with an insurance policy that covers one or more of these services. Do our well-to-do clients, even less than well-to-do clients, do they go to Mexico, Europe, Canada, etc.? Yes, they do. So not overseas, but out of country. Many people travel more widely in retirement. Medicare coverage generally doesn't go with them except in a few medical emergencies. That doesn't mean you have to travel uninsured. Most Medicare supplement insurance policies cover 80% of the emergency care outside the United States, although the lifetime limit is $50,000. And guys, if you're overseas and have a medical emergency, is $50,000 very much? Because do they want to be taken care of in a hospital over there with their surgeons and their care, or do they want to be shipped back here? And if they're shipped back here, how much does that cost? That's the plane coverage. That's the plane cost right there. That's the plane coverage right there. All they're going to get is a plane ride for $50,000 back. Does that make sense? So how can you use this? Again, I don't expect you to be experts. It would be a waste of your time. You need to be an expert you need to be their financial quarterback, not their specialty team, special teams kicker or whatever. You need to be the quarterback. You need to be able to look at the whole picture and help them and set them up with the experts they need. So I do not have a health care or a health insurance or a Medicare supplemental program, but I do have a property casualty program. So if you go to marketing, low cost marketing, and then go down here to property casualty referral system. It has a whole system with a manual, the invite that they could use to invite their clients, or a client letter to get them one-on-one. It has everything they would need right here. And again, this is for property casualty agents. All you would do to turn this into a health insurance or a Medicare specialist program is to do what? Where it says property casualty agent, you cut and paste and put what? Health insurance agent. You put Medicare specialist right there. And guys, how much do health insurance agents make and healthcare insurance make? Or Medicare and specialists make? How many of them make as much as a financial advisor? Or anywhere near what financial advisors make? I'm not getting any answers there. Well, I'll tell you. They work awfully hard, again, only for a short period of time of year. Well, how many of them are making $300,000 to $500,000, $1 million or $2 million? Because somebody said Depends on their book. How many guys are making $300,000 to $500,000 selling health insurance? Yeah. And guys, again, maybe you don't want to make $300,000 to $500,000 a year as a financial advisor. Maybe I'm going to take a step back and get off of this topic for a second because of some of the answers I got. What do you think I classify as success? You don't need to make three. There's more to life than money. There's way more to life than money. There's happiness. There's health. There's family. You do not need to make $1 gazillion. But I get that. But guess how much money, if you're talking about an industry and successful people in that industry, if you're not making, give me some viewpoints on this. If you're making less than what a year in this industry, would you say you're successful? Because guys, with my system, you should be making, if you want, again, you don't need to, but if you wanted to make $2 million a year, simple to do. We have the marketing to do that. We have the system to close basically everybody. So you can make $2 million a year, but not everybody wants to make $2 million a year. So what is the minimum you have to make to be successful? Let me hear what people would say. And I'll just name them as people say these things. So I got a 250. Give me some more numbers. What's the minimum? 800,000. What's the minimum you have to make to be what you'd call successful? 500,000. Come on, guys, give me numbers. What's the minimum you have to make to be successful? You guys are being shy. 150,000. So we got 150,000, 250,000, 500,000, 800,000. Yeah, guys, any of those are going to work. I'm not going to say anybody that's making. So the low number we had was 150. I'm not going to say you're unsuccessful for making 150, but when I'm talking about, wow, that financial advisor is in the top 10% of financial advisors, in the top 20% of financial advisors, they're making minimum $500,000 or more. And you guys could make 4 times that amount with our system, not even getting in front of rich people, just getting in front of middle-income people with our system. Again, you don't need to do that. But I guess what I'm saying is, how many health insurance agents are making $150,000, $500,000, $800,000 a year? But they would like to make more money if they didn't have to what? They would all like to make more money if they didn't have to do what? Do a lot of work. So could you, this property casualty system, you could go to them. First of all, you want to make sure, though, that they're people that you trust, people that you think that are good, people that can communicate well. But once you find that person, so take them out, take 5 of them out to lunch. Find that person. And then you can do 2 things. Number 1, you have a book of business who's interested in Medicare. Number 2, they have a book of business, which can you provide value to their book of business? Yes. So share your book of businesses, share your expertise, get them to meet with your clients in focus groups for lunch and learns in your office. Now, how many of your clients would bring a friend to a Medicare informational meeting if there was going to be a lunch served? How many of them would bring their friends, neighbors, or relatives? Some or none? Some of them would. And do you think the people that they brought, their friends, neighbors, relatives they brought, do you think that their advisor is providing information on Medicare as a value added? No. So now guess what you have? You have what? Possibility of a referral, another connection. So you're providing value to your clients, and it's a way to bring in referrals. The property casualty manual is going to help you, again, cutting and pasting. It's designed for property casualty agents, but just by using a little brain power, you could just cut and paste and put in the for health insurance agents, and you could provide value to their clients as well and do lunch and learns for their clients on some topic, whether it's tax reduction, retirement income, etc. Does that make sense? And how much is this going to cost you to do these things, to get in front of these people? Both. Is it more money or elbow grease? More money or more time? These are very inexpensive ways to get in front of people, but yes, they require work. So when it comes to getting in front of new people making more money, you got two choices. Spend more money or what? Because if you do seminars over and over and over, that's going to cost a lot of money, and you'll make a lot of money if you're good at it and don't know the 21-point checklist. And again, if you do seminars, I can show you how to close 80% of the people at that seminar if you follow through on the suggestions I make. But that costs money. Not a lot of you want to spend money. Not a lot of you want to get in front of 30 people at a shot. You want to get in front of onesies and twosies, which is also a great way to build a business. So do you think this is a way to get in front of 30 people or get in front of onesies and twosies at a time? It's onesies and twosies. It's a great slow way to have regular people coming through your office, both referrals from your clients and referrals from the health insurance professional. But it requires work on your part. So you either spend money to get in front of people or you invest some elbow grease into getting in front of people. But how many of your clients would think it was worthwhile to know more about these things? All of them would. How many of their friends, neighbors, relatives would feel it was important to know about these things? All of them. And how many of your health insurance people in your community would like to make more money if it didn't cost them a lot? And what you're doing is helping, because one of the big problems with health insurance is what? They have to do what every year? Health insurance agents have to do what every year? Medicare agents have to do what every year? Yes, re-up the people the next year. What's the best way to re-up people, guys? What's the best way to have a guaranteed re-upping? And this is also what the point I make with the property casualty agents. Once you have somebody, you want to keep those people. So what's the best way to re-up them? To provide what? Value. Value, 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 value. Yes, information, good information, things that they find worthwhile. So can you help that health insurance agent keep their clients or make re-signing all those people the next year easier? Yes, you can. Does that make sense? And that season is coming up soon, so when would be a good time to start trying to do this? Yeah, now, exactly. Make sense?
Mike, can I just jump in there real quick?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
For some of the people, if you are interested in learning more about Medicare or becoming more of a Medicare expert, we do have a great resource that we have available and have had available to you with Medicare and I65.com. So if that is something that interests you and you're interested in it, learning more about it, just go out to our resources page and it's down underneath Medicare and I65.com. So Melinda Coghill is probably one of the best, if not the best in the industry when it comes to Medicare. And we've had her on in the past, and she's shared some insights with us as well. But she is fabulous when it comes to Medicare, and they have a really terrific system. So if that's something you are interested in becoming an expert with, in addition to everything else that you have access to, that is a resource that you could take a look at. So, and Mike's got it.
Thank you, Missy.
So, yep, you bet.
Thank you. And guys, what if you find a health insurance agent but they don't know how to present? Could you do the Medicare presentation? Yes, you don't even need to be an expert on Medicare to do the Medicare expert, and they could be what? They're with you to answer any questions that you got. Because, first of all, like we said, health insurance agents and Medicare sub people, they're not making $500,000 or more a year. They're not that. They are very good at what they do, but they just don't want to not a lot of them are great at presenting. Not a lot of them have those kind of skills. You do have those skills. So you could actually give them this presentation. You could actually do this presentation for them and just have them there. It's a labor of love. I would agree with that. So that's why they do it. They could just be there and you could do the presentation and they could answer the questions and become the expert. Because the one thing that most guys fear about doing the Medicare and I-65 presentation is, yeah, I can do the presentation. It's pretty easy. It's very self-explanatory. But if somebody has a question, I'm going to not be able to answer that. Well, then you could do this presentation and have that health insurance agent there. And how many of you did, if you did a Medicare presentation, how many of your clients would want to be there for that? None, or a good handful of them? Yeah, I would think all of them. Does that make sense? Coolio. So today, let me see here, minimize. We're back into our 21-point checklist, which is, again, how you can make $2 million or more a year if you know this stuff, or any amount below that you want to make. But today we're going to talk about tenure and how we cover that. So let's get back into, so tenure, we're going to talk about it. Again, every time we do a script, we always talk about the very thing, or we talk about real life circumstances first. We talk about real life circumstances so they can say, oh, if that's the way it works in real life, that was the way it worked with me. So we talk about, hey, teenage driver versus experienced driver. Who would you rather be driving you? I'd rather be experienced. Experienced pilot or a brand new pilot? Experienced or some hot job genius? So they say, yes, I want the experience. So when they say they want experience, when it comes to the money, guess what they have to say then? They want someone new hot shot, or they want somebody with experience? They're going to say, I want somebody with experience. Boom, that's when we get them with the tenure. Does that make sense? So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. So we'll go to our meeting process. We'll go to the 21-point checklist meeting, and we'll go to our training video. And then, to get my sound plugged in, and we're going to go find tenure. Somebody has. So if I gave you the choice to be chauffeured around town for the next 3 hours by a 16-year-old teenager or a 60-year-old, which one would you feel safer with?
The 60-year-old.
The 60-year-old. I would too. But here's the thing. If they were to take tests, who would have the better reflexes, better reaction time, better hearing, better sight? Which one, the 16-year-old or the 60-year-old?
The 16-year-old would have better reflexes.
They would. But I would still take the 60-year-old, even though he doesn't. Why?
Well, he has more experience. He knows, what to look out for.
Well, that kind of, he does, look, because he can see an accident coming from what?
Oh, a long ways away.
Does he have to have fast reflexes if he can plan for it?
Right.
He's seen it before. He's not rattled.
Right. He can plan for it.
Yeah. So how about a pilot? If I had a pilot who's been piloting for 5 years, only flies in the daytime, never flies in bad weather, or given the choice of a pilot with 30 years experience who has been got into flying because he was a combat pilot in the war. He's flown for 30 years as what would you say, a regular airline pilot, and he's been flown in storms, at night, in fog. He's had engine failures. He's seen everything. Which one do I want to fly with?
You want to fly with that guy.
Duh, right? I mean, Sully. Remember Sully in the Hudson River?
Yep.
Did they say he landed that because he had lightning quick athletic reflexes? What did they say?
No, because he had so much experience.
Yeah, experience. So far, again, I've talked about this in the other scripts. I created this script back in 1997, and everybody answered the exact way I'd want them to answer. Is Jeff just being nice here, or would all of your clients answer the exact same way if we ask them these questions? Is Jeff just playing along, or would all your clients answer the exact? See, that's the power. When I say you can make $2 million a year, you can. If you learn these scripts, the clients are going to tell you exactly what you want them to say to you, and at the end, they're going to say they hate their advisor and can't wait to get rid of them. That's the power of these scripts. So somebody tells me there's a hot shot pilot with 5 years experience. Who would I still choose?
Yeah, you want the guy with more experience.
I would. I mean, does that seem reasonable or not reasonable?
No, that's reasonable.
Yeah. So the financial industry has been around for well over 100 years. And really, any industry that's been around for 100, has the education industry been around for 100 years?
Like teachers?
Teachers, yeah. So are there some teachers with 30 years experience?
Oh, yeah.
Doctors. Are there some doctors with 30 years experience? Engineers with 30 years experience?
Yeah.
Is any industry that's been around for a while is going to have people with what kind of experience?
A lot of experience.
And those are the people that are the leads on teams, or the ones that are the flunkies? So what I'm doing here is I'm getting them to say what? Every industry has people that have been in it for a long time. Because if all I do is just jump in and say, look at your manager tenure is only 7 years, they're going to think what? Well, 7 years seems pretty good. right? Because do they have? If I don't do this first, do they have anything to compare 7 years to? Or for as far as I know, 7 years is a good amount of tenure. See, if I just go in and show your manager only has 5 years or 7 years of experience, they don't have any comparison. And it's just like I say with the eye doctor. When you go in the eye doctor and they say, do they just say, hey, there's a bunch of here's a pair of glasses that help you see better? Well, yeah, I guess it does help me see better. Is that how they do it, or do they put you on that ocular system and they say first or second, which is better? First or second, which is better? Click, click. First or second, which is better? Click, click. They're doing it by comparison. That's how our human brain works. Compare something side by side. So now I've set the comparison that what? There are people with how much experience in this industry? How many years experience have they said now that people will have experience in the education industry, in the steel industry, in the real estate industry, and also in the financial industry? How many years experience? At least 30, right? So now when we say 7 versus 30, which would they rather have? 7 versus successful for 30 years. Successful for 7 years, successful for 30 years. Which would you rather have? They've already said that for for driving, for piloting, for anything. They want somebody with more experience. Let me ask you a question. Let's see if you guys can get this. What's the problem with somebody? Let's say he's the best fund manager over the last 7 years. Would you want the best hotshot fund manager over the last 7 years, or a manager who is average, or let's say a little bit above average for the last 30? Which would you guys rather have? A hotshot manager for 7 years, or a guy who's been above average for 30? Everybody's saying above average for 30. I agree. Why? What's the problem with the 7-year hotshot dude? What's the problem with the 7-year hotshot? You need to know this so you can have the client discover this for themselves. Ask the client questions so they can come up with themselves. What's the wrong? So I've got one right answer here. Lots of right answers. That's right. He has only seen 7 years. Has he seen wars? Has he seen economic conditions up and down? Has he seen all the things that the market can throw at them? Has he seen the dot-com bubble? Has he seen the 2008 depression? Has he seen it? No. He's seen 7 years. That means nothing. You want somebody who's seen everything, up and down interest rates, up and down markets, up and down economies, up and down employment, up and down everything. That work for the people who've been doing it for 5 years.
No, those are the leads.
Yeah, and why did they have why? Why did they have them as leads?
They know. They've been around more. They know more. They have more experience.
Yeah. And so if we wanted to choose a money manager, would we choose one with 5, 6, 7 years experience, or would we choose one with 20 or 30 years experience?
20 or 30 years.
I would. And why would we?
They've seen more. They know more.
Is Jeff being nice here, or is he answering the way that all of your clients would answer? How many of your clients would say they'd rather have somebody with 20 or 30 years of experience at this point? A few, or basically all of them? So I want to see if there's an answer. A few or all of them? So now they're all going to say, I'd rather have that guy with a lot of experience. Can they come back when you actually now show them the numbers? Show them their numbers. Can they come back and say, oh, no, I didn't really mean it when I said I'd rather have a 16-year-old drive me. I'd rather have a brand new hotshot pilot. I'd rather have a brand new hotshot manager. Can they go back at this point? Or are they locked into the fact that they want somebody with lots of experience? Do you see how these scripts set people up? So not only are they saying exactly what you want them to say, it's couching their mentality in a mentality that you want them to have as well. Does that make sense?
Or they can handle things better.
Yeah. What if I was told that we have a genius manager? He's only been doing it for 5 years, but he's a genius. Given the choice between him and a 30 years experience, which would I choose?
30 years.
Because if you think about it, would a guy be managing it for 30 years if he wasn't somewhat of a?
And he's got to be good.
I mean, they're giving him more and more money over the years. Could they have replaced him if they wanted?
They wanted to.
So why has he been managing for 30 years? Because he's an idiot?
No, he's smart.
Yeah. So, and what has he seen? Had there been stock market crashes in the last 30 years?
Yep.
Have there been different presidents?
Oh, yeah.
Tax law changes?
Yep.
Recessions? Interest rates up? Interest rates down? I mean, what has he seen?
Everything.
And the guy has been doing it for 5 or 10 years. What have they seen? What's the market been doing for 10 years?
Going up.
Up and up and up. What have tax rates been doing for the last 10 years?
They've been going down.
What have interest rates been doing?
Going down.
So the only thing he's seen is what?
everything or a very tiny slice of what could happen?
A few, yeah, hardly anything.
So what do we want? Somebody with a lot of experience or somebody with not very much experience?
I'd say a lot.
I would.
Can he back down from that at this point now? Can he say, oh, yeah, but my guy doesn't have very much experience, but I want that? How many people would be comfortable right now if I showed him their manager had 5 or 7 years experience to think, oh, but I like 5 or 7 years? How many of your clients would say that? Give me some answers. Many or none? Because we're going to show them the numbers now. We're going to show them the numbers. Can they come back and say, no, those numbers are good? No, there's only one thing to say, which is like, holy crap, I didn't know that's the 10-year. And guys, how many of these people have been shown how long the managers have been managing their money?
2. So when we go to our good old handy third-party resource, what?
Morningstar.
Morningstar, we look at your funds again.
Okay.
Manager tenure.
Okay.
So it says your average manager tenure is what?
10.69.
So they've seen what? The market only do what?
Just go up.
Interest rates only do what?
Just go down.
How many recessions?
None in the last 10 years.
So what have they seen?
Nothing.
And do you think that there's only, again, did we say that there's only newbies in this industry, or are there people with 20, 30 years experience in this industry,
No,
40 years experience?
People with a lot of experience.
People with a lot of experience. And here's the thing you should know about people with a lot of experience. If they've been doing it for a long time, do you think they have a lot of money under management or not a lot of money under management?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
Guys, who's the best example of this? Who's the best example of this? Was somebody with decades of experience who's outperformed every other advisor out there, every other manager out there, and you can invest with them for basically $3. So I got 2 right answers. Nick's got it right. Tom's got it right. I could invest with the best manager with the most experience that virtually has taught most of the other great money managers out there, and I can invest it with them for $3, not 1% a year, not 0.5% a year, not 0.1% a year, but for $3. I've only got 3 right answers. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Warren Buffett. How much does it cost to invest in Berkshire Hathaway, guys? I always get one wrong answer here. I'm waiting for that wrong answer. Hopefully I've talked about this enough times that nobody gets the wrong answer. How much does it cost to invest with Warren Buffett? I keep saying $3. Why am I saying $3? Because some people say, man, it costs thousands of dollars to invest with Warren Buffett. Does it cost thousands of dollars to invest with Warren Buffett? No. The stock cost is thousands of dollars, but how much does it cost to buy that stock? Because the stock, that's not the price of investing. That's what? That's the actual investment. How much does it cost for me to buy that investment? Well, if I deal with a discount broker, it costs a couple of bucks. Make sense? And how many years experience does he have?
So guess what happens? The more money they get under management, guess how many fees they need to charge? Does it go up or go down? If they have a lot of money.
More volume, I'm sure they're charging lower fees.
So some of the best money managers with 30 years experience, their fees are extremely low. In fact, many of them are no-load funds.
Okay.
So when it comes to experience, tenure, do you want more or do you want less?
More experience.
More experience, not less. And when it comes to fees,
you see, I'm doing the same thing I always do, which is, do you want more or less of this? And do you want to pay more or less for that thing? I do that with every single financial item.
Do you want more or less?
Or less.
So you want more experience, less fees. Instead, you have what?
Less experience and more fees.
Now, do you see guys, every single financial one, I do this. And I just talked about this a few minutes ago. What am I doing there? What am I making plain so that anybody would get the point here? I'm using what? Comparison. Do you want more or less experience? I want more experience. Do you want to pay more or less money? I want to pay less. So you're getting less experience, but you're paying more money, where you could have had more experience and paid less money. I do that over. I do that with risk. I do that with tenure. I do that with fees. I do that with correlation. I do that. I mean, every single thing we do, we use that back and forth with the financial, because that makes it black and white. Oh, because, you know, if you said, hey, you got more experience but you're paying more, they say, well, I guess I don't like paying more, but I guess it's okay. But when you say you got less experience in paying more, how many people are going to be happy with that? When you say, hey, you got more risk and are paying more for that, how many are going to be happy? Do you see how this makes it very plain that what they have is the opposite? Not okay, not maybe okay. It is the opposite of what they would want. Make sense?
Now, again, do we mind paying for things if we're getting something for it?
Not if we're getting something.
But do we want to pay more for the opposite of what we're actually getting?
No.
And are you getting the opposite of what you actually want?
Yeah, we're getting the opposite.
Yeah, because what would you prefer? Of this little diagram, what do you want?
More experience and less fees.
And you're getting?
Less experience with more fees.
And were you ever shown that you could have invested in managers with much more experience with less fees?
No.
Why not?
Is Jeff being nice here, or would if you ask the clients these questions in this order, how many of your clients would say the exact same thing that Jeff's saying? How many of your prospects would say the exact same thing that Jeff's saying? Or is he just playing along here? Is he just giving me the answers I want just because this is instructional and he wants to make me look smart as an advisor? Or how many of your prospects could answer any other way except how Jeff is answering here without looking stupid?
I'm sure it's because that's all he sold was just what he offered us.
Yeah, well, remember we said on your variable annuity, those money managers were no load or load? You could have bought them what?
Load, but we could have bought them no load.
So does he not know that they exist?
Oh, he knows.
So why did he not show them to you?
He's making more money.
So just two more quick things.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll be.
So guys, I asked this question over and over and over. How many of your clients would answer any other way? Do you see how, if you know these scripts backwards and forwards, and you do with the prospect, how many prospects at the end of all these 21 issues are going to say they no longer trust their advisor? All of them. That means everybody you get in front of wants to move their money away from their advisor. Now, you after they know they want to move their money, 100% of people will want to move away from their advisor. Now, you have to make the decision of, do I want to take that client on or not? But 100% of them are going to want to move their money from their advisor. The reason we have a 94% closing ratio is because 6% of the time, the advisor decides, I don't want, it's not that the client wouldn't move their money to him, the advisor says, I don't want that person. For whatever reason, they don't get along or whatever, whatever may be. 6% of the time they don't want to do it, but the 94% of people move their money to the advisor that knows the 21-point checklist. Ask these questions in this way. Make sense? Good. So is this still helpful for you to guys go through these scripts on a regular basis so you can see them one at a time and break them down? Awesome. Good, good, good. So I've got 9:47 rather than get things all discombobulated, and we'll just go ahead and start at the top of the hour for the script call, okay? So instead of just doing 5 minutes after this call, we'll start at the top of the hour for the script call and dive into this a little bit deeper and answer any questions people have. So thanks for being on the call today. Hope you all had a great 4th of July and got your battery recharged. Now get it. We need to get out there and have a great last half of summer before we roll into our second best time of year, which is fall. Have a great rest of the day, guys. We'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.